Hello, and welcome to Project Parents United. We continue our conversation with Dr. Niranjana Rajan, who is a pediatrician, about stress in babies and children and how we can help our children build resilience. If you haven't yet seen the first part of this video series, I highly encourage that you do so you can understand some causes of stress in babies and children. Let's see what Dr. Rajan has to say about this topic.
For older kids, what are some ways parents can help them manage stress?
Tweens, the teenagers, they engaged quite more in their education. So they tend to have a little bit more structure in their life. They need to get up at a certain point. They need to log in and be on the computer at a certain point, then they might have homework. So in that way, it's a little easier because they have a lot more to do. And I've heard that many preteens and teenagers are managing that very well. Many of them are self-motivated. So I think the schedule is really important. So they're getting up at a certain time, having their breakfast, doing schooling. There is more downtime. And again, you need to speak to your preteen or teenager on their level. Acknowledge that what they have to say is important and that they have ideas and they have their own fears. It's good to just spend a few minutes together, maybe have lunch together or, have dinner together. I know that many people, even though you're all home at the same time, people might be on different work schedules and may or may not be able to eat their meals together. But I really would recommend at least one meal with your adolescent and, just listen. This is something that I've learned along the way. Our children want us to just listen to them and just a simple and ask open-ended questions. So, what was good about your day today? Or, what was difficult about your day today? Instead of saying, did you do your homework? Yes or no? How are you? Fine. That's an easy, many adolescents are just going to throw these one-word answers at you. So ask open-ended questions and listen. Do not jump to trying to help fix their problems. I found that again and again and again, teenagers, young adults, they want us to listen. They may be looking for solutions, but they don't always want to hear it at that time. Right. Listen with no judgment, with as neutral a face as you can, even if you hear something that's upsetting and you don't want to hear. This is especially true for teenagers. I would say anywhere between 15 and early 20s, this is probably, the right strategy. Just listen.
You answered a very tough question. I was about to ask you, especially when it comes to teenagers, they're not very open about their feelings. But as you mentioned, these are some wonderful strategies for parents to use. Engage them in your everyday activities and wait for them to talk. And once they are open and comfortable, I think that's the way to do it, especially with teenagers. Now, when it comes to children, a routine, it's so important. They are very active physically. For me personally, I love just going out for a walk. How do we maintain physical activity for children? And is it even safe to go outside?
That's a great question because I've heard now families who haven't stepped out of the home for 8 to 10 weeks. Maybe they open a window or maybe they have a little balcony or a patio. It is absolutely safe to go outside. Go outside, irrespective of the weather, unless there's a storm outside. Even if it's chilly, the weather is quite variable in our area and many parts of the country. Just dress appropriately, go outside. I strongly recommend everyone to spend at least 30 minutes outside. And you're not going to get sick walking outside unless you're in a very crowded area. If you're at an open area and even though there's people, if they're, spread apart, it's totally fine. I really do think people should get outside. We need some sun, we need some fresh air. I personally, that's what's been keeping me sane. Going outside half an hour to an hour every single day, regardless of the weather.
Right.
So, yeah, and then, there's so many other things we can do, old-fashioned things that we forget, get some chalk and, write on the sidewalk, hopscotch, which we used to play decades ago, put a hopscotch board on the ground, jumping rope, playing catch. There's so many things that we can do outside. Yeah, I think definitely safe. Please go outside.
And when the parents hear it from a pediatrician, I think it's very reassuring. As you said, children thrive on physical activity, so I'm so glad that these options are still out there. As a stress management strategy, it's important that we teach our children to regulate their emotions.
Mm-hmm.
You have a child, they're just having a rough day. Sometimes it's really hard for parents to witness that. What are some tips for parents to handle this particular situation? It might be happening more often now that kids are home. So
Sure.
Any strategies?
Depending again on the developmental and emotional level of the child, some things that parents can do, very basic, is breathing, deep breathing. That is known in anybody. They're feeling anxious, stop and take deep breaths. That helps us calm down. Quiet time is important. There's so much going on. There might be a parent on a meeting. There might be a sibling, listening to a lecture. There's so many things going on. A little bit of quiet time is important. The other thing is just emotional check-ins. You as a family or with one child could just ask them every day, how are you doing? How did your day go? How is this affecting you? How did you handle this? And also to be open to have opportunities where children can ask you questions. I recommend that parents tell their kids, you can ask me anything, and you as a parent would like to be the one to answer your child's questions, not their friends, not the media. So as a parent, I've always told my kids, you can ask me anything. Do not worry that I'm going to be upset or offended or embarrassed. If I don't know the answer, I'll find it for you, but come to me first.
I love this information, Dr. Rajan. This was so great. I loved our conversation. I think babies and children are very resilient. What's important is that we identify stress. And if we identify this early on with love and patience, we can help them get over it.
Absolutely. And, the only way a parent can help their child if they themselves are taking care of themselves. That's one major thing I wanted to say is, as a parent, be kind to yourself, go easy on yourself, practice self-care. It is so easy to forget about it. We're always doing for others and we're taking care of everyone but ourselves. But if we don't take care of ourselves as parents, we cannot be effective. So take some time, 15 minutes to walk, to listen to music, talk to a friend, take care of yourself. That's the only way you can help your child.
We hope you found this information useful, and don't forget to tell us what you think. You can also connect with us on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube, or visit us at www.projectparentsunited.com.